Do you know Laura Peters and William West Woodland? Laura was a Welsh pioneer who crossed the plains as a child. On the journey, a boy carried a cute black and white kitten in his hat into camp, but soon they had to let the pet go and bury the hat, as they learned what a skunk was. As a teenager, Laura went for a boat ride with some young people on Utah Lake. They nearly drowned in a storm, and Laura prayed to the Lord and promised if he would save her, she would never go on a boat again. He did, and she kept her word. As his middle name West foretold, tall blonde William was an explorer moving west. He had one blue eye and one brown eye, and never learned to read. William was one of 14 children and father to 14 himself. When he was a child, the Woodland family was chased from their Missouri home by the mobs, and William's grandmother and 3 siblings were killed. As a teenager in KnoWho, William saw the mantle of Joseph Smith fall on Brigham Young and was a devoted Latter-day Saint the rest of his life. He had several experiences in which the Lord delivered him from danger. Once, teenage William was taking a message to President Young in Salt Lake. About midnight, a light suddenly appeared in front of him 3 times, and he felt compelled to follow, as it guided his horse over the mountain on a dim trail. Returning the next day, he saw the reason for the warning. Indians had been camped there. William might have been scalped, his horse stolen, and important papers wouldn't have reached the prophet. The memory of this experience was a spiritual guide to him throughout his life. 20-year-old William drove a herd of cattle for the church to California and then went to buy more in Mexico. There he learned Spanish and gained a vision for ranching. He returned to California and panned for gold, one day collecting enough to fill a can and panning $50,000 worth total until his equipment was washed away in a storm. He returned to Utah with saddles and fine clothes, including silk underwear, and had a watch with a gold nugget on the fob. William was fashionable and wore a white shirt and trousers even to mow hay. In his late 20s, William returned to California and heard of a feverish gold rush in Australia. He spent 2 months sailing there, but upon arrival was not impressed, so he returned on the same ship to San Francisco. Teenage Laura first met her future husband when William rode up to a watering hole and showed off the tricks he'd taught his horse. 3 years later, William came to visit his nephew, and the 2 young men rode past 2 young ladies walking. They stopped to talk and invited the girls to ride on the back of their saddles. William said he'd lasso his choice, and Laura rode on the trick horse with him. This time she learned his name, and the courtship began. William proposed, but Laura's father thought he wasn't refined enough. He said he'd be back for his answer in a week. Several local church leaders sought Laura as a polygamous wife, and thus there was much ill will towards this intruder. Secret meetings were held with her father, but Laura wanted a man of her own choosing. When William returned, Laura's father told him, "I might as well say yes. She says she'll go with you anyway." They settled in Idaho, and Laura was the first white woman to live there. William's early agricultural efforts were thwarted by frost. He told visiting Apostle Lorenzo Snow of this challenge, and they knelt in the middle of the field and dedicated the land to the Lord and blessed it to be fruitful. William raised abundant crops ever after, including 65 bushels of wheat to the acre the very next year after this prayer. He said, "Some people might think this occurrence was a result of natural causes, but I am so simple as to believe that the Lord heard the prayer of his servants and blessed the land, thus making my labors a source of profit and satisfaction to myself." The Oregon Trail ran in front of the Woodlands Ranch. William was a station agent for the stagecoach that ran between Utah and Montana. And once, robbers held up the stagecoach and stole $500,000 in gold. William led a posse and trapped the robbers. He was shot at several times and his clothing pierced by bullets, but the money was recovered. Laura and William had 14 children, and she was very particular that they bathe, change from morning to afternoon clothes, and have their hair well kept. 2 of her children died young, and when her married daughter died, Laura raised her 2 granddaughters as her own. It was said that she loved first little children and next flowers. Often she prepared food to take to those in need, but would put baskets under her apron rather than be conspicuous about it. Laura was the Relief Society president for 19 years, and Laura and William lived their religion every day of their lives. Her faith was as constant as the North Star. William literally talked to God when he prayed, keeping his eyes open so as to literally watch and pray. In fact, his daughter recalled that the family knew when William got to a certain point in his prayer, it was time to put the biscuits in the oven, and they would be done to perfection when he had finished. After he died, William appeared to Laura in visions. Once he saved her from a foolish investment in banana stock targeted to seniors, and reassured her that she had enough money to last through her life, and that was a scam. As Laura lay ill at the end of her life, he returned to tell her that he would be back the next night to bring her home. William, ever prompt, was there to receive her at 6:30 as he had promised. And now you know the Western explorer and his Welsh sweetheart, William West and Laura Woodland.